Hey, Alan here for Untitled Outfitters. Today we have what you might consider a classic rifle these days, the Ruger Mini 14. Now, AR-15s are all the rage, right? Everybody loves their AR-15. Nothing wrong with that. But if you like something that has a little more classic look, a little more classic rifle look, the Mini 14 is definitely worth examining. The Mini 14, when it first came to life way back when, was not as good a rifle as this one is. It had some issues with accuracy and sights and stuff like that. Ruger, a few years ago, modified these guns and fixed all those issues. So this gun is pretty darn good as they make it right here now.
I would like you to take a look at those three holes.
You can get these in a couple different configurations. You can get it in a stock that'll sort of remind you of an AR-15 type stock. Well, that's okay, but really, get it with this type of stock. Get it with a regular rifle stock. That's where it really shines as a good shooting rifle. We had a lot of fun shooting it. It's very accurate, very easy to shoot, very controllable. No muzzle brake up there, just a regular muzzle, but that's okay. No problems at all with controllability as you see in the video. This particular version has a walnut stock. Now, they make synthetic stock versions with the same configuration. Pretty much all of them have this top synthetic handguard, which is a nice handguard. It does a good job of keeping the heat from the barrel from bothering you. It covers part of the operating rod up here, so if you're holding it back here a little bit, you're not going to get on the operating rod. That's a nice touch. The barrel itself has a protected front sight. It's a simple blade with two ears in front of it. Kind of reminds you of an M1 carbine sight. The rear sight is a single aperture peep. The rear sight is adjustable for both windage and elevation. Now this rifle is called the Mini 14. Partly because when it was designed, Ruger's idea, Bill Ruger's idea, was that at the time, the M14, we know them commercially now as the M1A, was the standard U.S. military rifle. Well, the Mini 14 took a rifle like that, took that same design, essentially, downsized it to fit the 5.56/223 cartridge and made it to look kind of like an M14. It's not exactly like an M14. It's better in some respects. It has a different gas system. It's a little shorter, a little simpler. It doesn't need what the M14 had. It has a very different receiver assembly, although it looks a lot like an M14 receiver. It has the same safety design as the M14 series guns. By the way, these are chambered in 5.56. The specification of the chamber of the gun is 5.56. So 5.56 or 223 ammunition will work. Now, 1 in 9 twist barrels in the Mini 14. So they're not going to shoot the really heavyweight bullets in that caliber. 55 and 62 grain bullets are going to work just fine out of this. You go to the really super heavy stuff like 75, 77, not going to group well because that rifling twist isn't fast enough. That's no big deal. 55s and 62s are what you're going to find most commonly and least expensively anyway. So looking at the stock, like I said, it's walnut stock. It's got a rubber butt plate. You don't need it. It doesn't recoil much. It's extremely comfortable to shoot. Mentioned the safety, just like an M14 safety. So it's that tab right there. When it's pushed back into the trigger guard, it's on safe. When it's pushed forward and out of the trigger guard, it's on fire. And I've heard people say, oh my gosh, this is terrible. You have to put your finger in the trigger. Well, yeah, you do, but nothing's going to happen until you push that lever forward. Then you're ready to fire. It's extremely intuitive and doesn't involve you moving your hand at all to run the safety on this weapon. So there's really nothing wrong with that thinking. The bolt on it, looks like an M14, but it's a little different. It borrows from the M1 carbine in that when you pull this bolt back, if the gun's empty, you push on this little thing right there, and that's what locks it open. And then, of course, just simply pulling it back will release it. The receiver is very different than an M14 receiver. This rear sight will come completely off. Now, you can't do that with an M14 type rifle, but this will come completely off. And you've got two little pads right there with slots in them, and those are for the Ruger scope rings that come with this gun. So if you want to conventionally scope this, it's a piece of cake to do. Take the rear sight off, put the rings, you get two of them, put them in the slots, lock them down, put your scope in, away you go. So I don't want a scope. I want a red dot. No problem. Ruger's taking care of you. They also come with this one-piece rail, which will bridge across this, lock in place, and you can put your red dot up there. So you're all set. Lots of fun rifle to shoot. Now, these things come, like I said, a couple different configurations. This has an 18-inch barrel. You can get a 16-inch tactical version that has a flash suppressor mounted on the end of the barrel. That's fine if you like that, no problem. This particular one comes with two 20-round Ruger magazines. Other versions of this come with flush-fitting 5-round magazines. 5-round magazines are really handy if you're shooting off a bag or you're varmint hunting or something like that. You don't need 20 rounds hanging out. Regardless, this doesn't hang out much, so that's not a big deal, really. These rock in like an M14 magazine, so they go in at an angle and latch back like that. The magazine releases right there. You catch it, pull it out they come. So mag releases are efficient and effective. You can get 30-round magazines for these things. They look basically like an AR magazine as far as length goes. Obviously, because these lock differently, regular AR magazines will not work. That might be the biggest downfall to this system, is the fact that you need to use specific magazines for it. You can get aftermarket magazines. Don't. Stick with Ruger branded magazines. You got guaranteed reliability with those. Some of the aftermarket magazines, and I have seen this, don't always work well in these guns. Get a Ruger magazine, you'll be happier. You've got Sling Swivel on the back of the wood stock here. You got Sling Swivel up front, so you can sling it pretty conventionally. This, again, because it's a very conventional rifle, handles like a conventional rifle, which is different than AR-15 type weapons to a degree. Makes it very easy to shoot, very easy to carry, not a real heavy gun. Good product. Now, Ruger Mini 14s in just about any flavor are going to be in that $1,000 vicinity these days, as we say this. Always, if you're interested in one of these, check with us for current price and availability as far as what we have in stock. These don't sell in the numbers that AR-15s do. AR-15s have a huge advantage. They've got tons of accessories and tons of cheap magazines available for them. A lot of accessories here, but magazines, reliable ones, are not necessarily cheap. But you know what? That's okay. If you like this system, this is a great little rifle. It's loads of fun to shoot. It will definitely do the job if you're looking for this type of platform. Okay, well, there you have it. The Ruger Mini 14, a classic rifle that is still a really good performer, even in this days of AR-15s everywhere. All right. Well, that's what we have for today. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it greatly. Until next time, we'll see ya. I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.